No. All right, there we go. You guys can hear me, right? Let me know. Let me know how my audio. That's just weird. Check, check. 1 2 1 2. Mic check. 1 2 1 2. Wow, 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 wow. Bow, wow, 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 wow. Bow, wow, 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 wow. Bow, wow, wow, wow. Can hear you just fine, says Jarian. Thank you, thank you. I'm seeing levels now. I'm seeing levels. All right. I was supposed to come on here last evening, but I guess it makes sense that I didn't. But I was just gonna talk about like the emulation situation with Mario 3D All Stars. Um, but I got tired. Like I was trying to fight through it, and then I was like, maybe I'll come on a little later. All out of nowhere, I got hit with super itis. I don't know. Hard luck tech. What's up? Where's everyone? LOL. I don't know. I'm seeing more. I'm seeing people, but they're not chatting it up. They're not hitting the chat. Where y'all at, man? Where y'all at? Where y'all at, man? Where y'all at? I see you, but I don't see you. I see you in the live viewers thing, but I'm watching now, but I don't see anybody. I, only Jarion and Hard Luck want to talk tonight, I guess. Fanboys got exposed today. What happened? What did I miss? What did I miss, Hard Luck? What exposed fanboys today? I would like to know. I probably already know, but maybe I don't. I'm not sure where you're coming from. What exposed the fanboys today? There he is, EJ Johnson. Kaboom! Dropping, dropping in, dropping bombs. Now that means something different, don't it? It used to be a cool thing to say that you drop bombs, but now it means like you doing doo doo or poo poo or farted or something. uh, I guess you'll tell me if you want to tell me, Mr. Hard Luck, what you mean by people getting exposed. Yeah. But anyway, I like the setup. I'm digging it. Uh, What? Real Gamer said something, then he retracted it. Real Gamer said something, then he retracted it. I don't know what you're saying. PlayStation games going to PC Plus. PS5 games being cross-gen. Yeah. I thought that's what you were talking about, EJ. Hard luck. Yeah. Need a guest, T, or are you doing it by solo? I can add a guest. I just don't know what the hell I'm doing here. How do I add you? I've never done it live before. And since I'm using OBS, see, I know how to do it if I was on like Google and whatnot. But if you can tell me, I'll add you. Do I send you the stream key? I don't know. Let me know if you know, Real Gamer. What's up, Trap Lord Huey? What up? Give me a couple minutes. All right. So yeah, you can figure it out. Tell me, because I don't know how to do it from OBS or this setup. I really don't. So yeah. So I think more details came out of the PS5 showcase after the fact, because I heard a lot of chirping afterwards. But that's what Sony does it all the time, and a lot of people miss that stuff, the details. Lazy boy, the jeans, LOL. What don't you know how to do? I don't know how to add. Because Real Gamer wants to jump in. I don't know how to add him from my OBS setup. If you know how, let me know. I'm older. I used to be on the fanboy bandwagon. I just laugh at all these people now. Yeah, I mean, hard luck is a lot of hypocrisy, and it's fun to laugh at hypocrisy and point it out. Nothing wrong with that. I do it. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That never gets old for me. I like to expose people who say one thing before, but now when their company does it, and that's goes for Nintendo fans too. A lot of people get pissed off about it a lot when I say stuff. When I bring up their previous videos and previous stances, I'm the bad guy all of a sudden. But oh well. Delete your videos, delete your previous stances, and maybe I can't do that to you. Guarana. Final Fantasy 16 was not what I expected, and it seems Square Enix does not. I guess you're saying does not know what's cool anymore. Even their medieval Final Fantasy seems too emo for me. Yeah, we're gonna get into that too, because me and the Juice Crew and our little Google chats had some stuff to say about that. So we'll talk about that as well for sure, Guarana. Bad latency. Yeah, the details of basically all the PS5 exclusives not being so, except Ratchet and maybe the new God of War possibly. You guys are gonna have to give me some of the deets because I only got a few of them. Some of the extra later deets. Hard Luck says don't add Real Gamer. Discord. Okay. I'm gonna need a little bit more information than Discord. Do I add Discord into my thing? Do I add your? Send me a DM on. Oh, you sent me something already. I missed it. Oh, you asked a question. Could you come in? Yeah, send me something I could, grab a link, or do I grab your Discord link and put it into my sources here, my scenes, or I should look this stuff up because I do plan on adding people to the Tea Talks because it's boring just watching me yapper all the time, right? So I want to add one or two people every once in a while to keep it interesting. Horizon 2, Miles and Astrobot are on PS4. Yeah, I remember. I know that information. I do remember the cross stuff. It's going to be janky if you're going to have him on camera. Okay, so maybe we won't do camera then. I mean, you got to understand, I've been having issues with my live streams here, and I don't want to mess around too much. Real gamer, I have no problem adding you. It's just I don't know how to do it, and I don't want to mess up my stream, messing with stuff. But I'm doing a stream after this one, so this is I'm doing a Wii U. I should just do it tomorrow, but I don't want to. I want to do some more one-off videos. I do have an episode of my first Nintendium video. If you're subscribed to my Nintendium channel, I'll go ahead. I already have that video ready to go. I'm going to drop Nintendium videos on Saturday nights at 8, or Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Every Sunday night, you're going to get at least one Nintendium video. So it's already in the bag. So look forward to that. Yeah, if you don't know, man, I don't know how to do it. So you got to send me some details. I have Discord as a smaller window. So what do? Do I add Discord in my sources here? Juice? Do I add it in my sources? I'll do that. I'll add so like browser source. How do I do it? Let me know. The damage control will be it's Sony console exclusives until they show up on PC like Horizon. Man, I got so much to say about that. I don't have a lot to say about it, but I have a whopper to say about that console exclusive thing. It's hilarious, and I'm sure you guys already know. But yeah, gamer night. So let's see. All right, I'm just going to get started. If we can figure this out, we'll do it. We'll add Real Gamer. If not, sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do this stuff. So I'm still pretty what do you call it, green when it comes to Discord, or not Discord. Well, I'm still kind of green with Discord even. When it comes to what is this called? OBS. So, but yeah. So, we'll quickly run through, because I don't have a whole lot to say, on the emulation situation with Mario 3D All-Stars. Like, I already put the video out saying it's lazy, but I had no idea how lazy it was. So it's not ports. It's actually emulation. They built emulators for the Switch to run, N64, GameCube, and Wii titles, which is good in a sense, because maybe, and I'm just gonna say, because every time people say this, Nintendo did this, so maybe now this is gonna happen. It never really happens. Like, we always do that, and it's like, oh yeah, maybe this hints at this, and it never hints at anything when it comes to Nintendo. So I'm not gonna get I don't want to say my hopes up, because I don't really care about that stuff anymore, like emulation on my console, or just being able to play older titles, because I can go back and play everything I want to play on the original hardware, and I kind of rather do that. There was a time where that wasn't a viable thing for me, back when I didn't have like a good way to have these old systems on my current TV. So they didn't look good. So yeah, it made a lot of sense for Virtual Console, all that stuff that I care about. But now I don't really care about that anymore. Maybe one or two games I'd pick up for the convenience factor, but I don't really care about it as much. But I know it's still super convenient for a lot of people. Not a lot of people have what I have as far as a collection here. So I'm not down this and that, but what I'm saying is I can't even get excited about that because Nintendo that never really means anything. Remember when the GameCube uh, attachment came to Wii U? Everybody's like, "Oh, well now we might get game." No, we never got GameCube games on Wii U Virtual Console, so I'm not gonna expect it. If it comes to Switch, great. Pleasant surprise, but I'm not gonna expect it just because they did, you know, they did these emulators, and now that means GameCube games are coming because they seem very content pushing out NES and Super Nintendo games. So, um, yeah, what's this? I tried to call you on Discord, T. I don't even have my Discord open, my man. I'm on a different computer, and I I will have to do this next time because I don't have Discord set up on this computer, and it's a pain for me to go through right now to do it. So uh, next time I'll hit you up for my T talk, uh, real gamer for sure. Um, Gamer Knight says that was smart, giving a cheaper disc free option. Oh, I guess you're talking about other stuff. I'll get into that. Um, Thoughts on tomorrow's partner showcase? I guess I'll throw something out there about that as well. Trap Lord Huey. Yeah, RG27. Sorry, man. This was kind of a spur, and I wasn't really ready, or I'm not really set up to be intricate. But I'll figure this stuff out for next time. But yeah, so it's emulated, which was easier for them to do than to port the games. That's just a fact. Don't get upset. It was just easier for them to emulate these games than to port them, which explains why Super Mario Sunshine is still at 30 frames per second, and explains why Mario 64 is still at 30 frames per second and no. Well, it doesn't spring no widescreen because they made Sunshine and Galaxy widescreen, but they also HD'd them better. But emulators do that anyway. And a lot of people don't realize that, but most emulators sharpen the resolution, up the resolution, stuff like that. Especially N64 games. I have an emulator on my original Xbox that I'm pretty sure if is not exactly what you're getting from All Stars, it's pretty close. If I was to run that, I got to do a test. I guess I can use footage from Mario 64 on the 3D collection because I don't have the game. And then I'll compare it with my emulated version of it from my Xbox, and we'll see how close it is. But yeah. I'm old. Yeah, I am old. But like I said, it shows to the cheap, quick cash grab job that they put on this collection. Now, again, I never really had a problem with the price. I would have liked that they added more value to that price, but and I'm not one of the people that's gonna be, oh, well, it's $60 used on GameCube, because you're not gonna buy it on GameCube, so it doesn't matter that it's $60 used on GameCube. Nintendo doesn't value it at $60. I don't think at this point. They value it basically at $20 or around that, digital or on a cart now. So to use the GameCube version's price, because I did it too at first. And I thought about it, I was like, well, that's just because it's not available anywhere else other than GameCube. But Nintendo wouldn't set that price. I would hope not, for a retro game. So that's, but even at the end of the day, it's still a decent price. I would say 40 to 50 would be better. And Walmart is selling them for 50, So there's that. I'm gonna try to go grab a couple copies, and I'm gonna sell them to stupid people. Why not? Why not get in on that, and then make some money, and then buy some more stuff that I want? Because I'm not gonna keep. I don't have any desire for Mario 3D Collection or 3D All Stars because it's just lazy and weak to me. But they only had 6 months T, and it's funny because I was gonna bring that up again. They had 6 months, and they did Wind Waker HD in 6 months on Wii U, and that game got a lot of stuff done to it. Like they actually went into the game and did things. It wasn't just an HD port, because if you look at it, there's some bloom lighting. Maybe too much bloom lighting in the Wii U version of Wind Waker. So they went in and did that. They did the UI with the gamepad, everything. You can switch weapons and all that on the fly using the gamepad. The map and all that. So they added stuff, and there was like the Triforce shard search was better streamlined and things like that. And there's a lot of little things in there, like speeding up your sailing and all kinds of stuff. So they actually went in, did some things to that game. Now the game was it $60 when it came out? But I would rather pay $60 if you're gonna do that to the game, than just kind of slap some emulators together and sell it for $60 for 3 games. I'd rather spend $60 on one game that you really went in and did some work to. But like I said, the value is still there, especially for a lot of people who don't have these games and have no desire to pull out their GameCubes and Wii's or whatever, or Wii U's to play them. So I understand that, but it doesn't change the fact that it's a lazy job. And there's really no argument against that. You can be upset, and a lot of people have been with people's take on this. You can be upset about it, but it's still, the fact still remains that it's a lazy, not even port job, it's a lazy emulation situation. So at the end of the day, I don't care. I just wish they would have done more with it. It's whatever. It's just, the thing is, I wanted to care. I wanted to care because I wanted it to be a nice package, not just, it's so bare bones. The menu is pathetic. Like, it's really, like, I plan on doing my own menu to show you how cool it could be, because I had some assets from a 3D thing I did back when I was in school using like Nintendo systems, and I completely forgot about it until I saw that weak menu. And I'm like, I'm gonna use my, something I did in a couple hours. Not couple hours. It probably took me 5 or 6 hours. And I'm not like a full on 3D artist or anything, but it took me that to kind of make these 3D models. And I'm gonna show you my mock-up menu, and you tell me what you think looks cooler. They could have done better. It just seems like they didn't care to do better. So it's unfortunate. I wish there was a reason for me to buy it other than scalping it. If I run into some copies at Walmart, I will buy them and resell them to people stupid enough to buy them from me. So it is what it is. But anyway, they did a really good job with Kirby 25th Anniversary. I don't understand what happened here. Yep, Jarion, they did do a really good job with that. That was a nice package for the Wii. It was pretty awesome. It's an anniversary collection. Why not add ads for these games from around the world? Are there even extras? Yeah, there's really no extras. Outside of the music, there's no extras. And it's like the Sega, remember the Sega collection? Sega Genesis collection? Like, there's 40 games in there. And there's just like, it's so cool with the whole, like, you're in your room and it's your game collection set up and you pick your games like that. Make it, do something like that. Make it more, these are the biggest platformers of all time in this collection, and you just do nothing with it. And it's just super lame to me, and I don't understand why more people aren't disappointed by this. There's just take my money and give me back. Take my wallet and give me back how much money you think I should have, Nintendo. Even on lackluster stuff. And it's not like anything that I'm saying, if they had implemented anything I'm saying, people would be upset with. Oh no, I don't want a cooler menu. Oh no, I don't want like a booklet with history of Mario or anything like that. No, I don't want that stuff. Of course you would have wanted that. So there's no argument against what I'm saying. Other than, oh, I don't want you to hurt Nintendo's feelings or my feelings by talking about this stuff. So yeah, the original All Stars is like straight up remakes of 3 classic games, and 3D All Stars is not up to par with the All Stars moniker. It just isn't. Like Guarana says here. I obviously still play mine. Says a real gamer. Who said the anniversary collection? Oh, that was Visor Grunt. Visor Grunt. About the anniversary collection. Why not add games or ads from just little trinkets, something like but whatever. Why did they decide to make this in March and didn't the leaks come out before that? Says Terminator Juice. I don't know, man. This is something you're going into the 35th. You would think you would have these things ready to go. You'd be working on these things, but maybe they just didn't care enough to it's like, okay, we'll start it in March. This is our plan to start it in March because they know they weren't going to do anything big with it. They were just going to emulate these things. And somebody said, oh, we can emulate them pretty quickly with a small group. And we just decided, oh, March is when we'll start. We'll be done in time for sure. And maybe that's just how it is. Koju, I don't really care that Mario games are emulated because they'll still be fun. Besides, with COVID still being an issue, I imagine Nintendo would have to take it easy. See, the COVID excuse. We just had a PlayStation event, and Sony's dropping a new console. They're making some games cross-gen. Some games are for PS5 only. Microsoft had their event. I think they're going to show some more stuff later. They're dropping a new console. They're not affected, or they're affected, but they still have put out some pretty buoyant efforts this year, and Nintendo hasn't. So if you take out 3D World, and you take out 3D World, and Age of Calamity is not, they help work on it, but it's Koei Tecmo who's doing the main lifting in that game. Animal Crossing was supposed to come out last year. So you have Paper Mario, for the year, outside of the lazy 3D collection port. That's not good enough for a multi-billion-dollar company, especially when you look around at everybody else in this industry, and you're like, well, Sony dropped 2 huge games early this year. Did they have nothing planned? They were just we're going to start things. Oh, and then COVID hits, and then it's like, oh, we don't have time. We can't do anything. Like, it's not an excuse, man. It's like no excuse. And I'm just whatever with Nintendo. But I just get annoyed by people making excuses that even Nintendo, I don't think would make. There's no excuse for their output this year. Looking at everybody else, if you want to be in a vacuum and say, well, okay, but this gaming industry is not it's not a bubble. Everybody can see other people doing things. Why can't Nintendo? And they tend to get a pass a lot from the fans, us fans, on this stuff. Meanwhile, everybody else is getting things, and we're sitting around. Oh, maybe we'll wait for this. Or maybe there's going to be something big at the partner showcase. Okay, maybe the second one. Okay, maybe the third one. Like, I don't understand, man. I don't understand. Your thoughts on Switch being a fad console and its successor probably won't sell as well? What? The successor? Are you saying the successor probably won't sell it well? Well, it's a possibility. I don't know. Um, I mean, there's definitely some fad element to the Switch. I don't know, how much, um, but what's going to happen when, let's say, XCloud really takes off, and you can play all these big games on your iPhones and your iPads and your Galaxy tabs and all this stuff. And it's I'm talking about, it's really in a place where it's not a niche thing to do, where more people are doing it. And I point that out because I know, like, I have students that come to class all the time. Some, have their Switches, but a lot of them just have their cell phones and a PS5 controller or an Xbox One controller, and they play, full on games on their cell phones. They do not care. They don't have this loyalty, this brand loyalty. A lot of us grew up with. So there's going to be a point where there's going to be too much competition for a Switch-like device. It's not going to be just good enough to be portable, and that competition will have a lot more power. And it depends on when those things get cheap enough or cheaper for mass consumption. So I actually played my Wii U more than Switch. I don't know if that's true for me. It's probably close at this point. Because I don't know. I have to think about that one. Gamer night. Magawara Link. I don't understand. Back then, people didn't complain at all. This generation, what? What? Let me stop you right there. There was a ton of complaining on the Wii U. I don't know what back then you're talking about, but Wii U got all the complaining in the world from a lot of these people who don't want to hear complaints about the Switch, which I find ironic. But you're gonna have to emphasize on back then. Everything we don't have to have enough game. We have enough game. The graphics sucks. This graphics is. I mean, PS2, GameCube. Oh, okay. Well, even then, like, I have to do it because people have revised the history with GameCube. Right now it's the most lovable Nintendo console of all time. But I was, in my 20s when GameCube hit, and there wasn't a lot of love for GameCube during that era. For people my age, a little younger, and older, GameCube was a joke to a lot of people, just like the Wii U was in many ways. So, I'm not sure. Graphics, yeah, because we hadn't hit that era where that's what a lot of people only cared about. And all the systems, for the most part, were pretty on par. I mean, PlayStation 2 was behind GameCube and Xbox, but it didn't matter because everybody bought a PlayStation 2. So, what's up, Laker Link? What's up? 6th Gen was golden era of third-party titles. There was always something coming out. Yeah, I love the 6th Gen for third-party. The mid-tier, the AA, midway type of stuff was great. That was the era. A lot of that stuff died, unfortunately. But yeah, good stuff. But yeah, so Sony Showcase. My flat-out initial thoughts. It was good. It was a good show. Did it move me to want a PS5? No. Not really. Especially because a lot of the information coming out after the fact was like, oh, so we got a lot of cross-gen stuff that's going to keep me playing on my PS4, including the big game, the one that would have really pushed me to buy PS5 probably earlier than I would have wanted to, being Horizon 2. And that's going to be cross-gen, so I think I'll just play that on PS4. Like I'm not, if you come out with an Uncharted at some point and it looks interesting, or something the equivalent, maybe you'll bring me in. But I'm not a Demon Souls fan. I'm not a fan of those Demon Souls, Dark Souls, and that kind of stuff. So that's not gonna do it. Miles Morales looks good, but you know, I'm not gonna purchase. I don't feel like purchasing a console for like a, what do you call it, a licensed superhero game. I mean, I haven't played the first Spider-Man. It's in my queue. I'm definitely gonna pick it up, like the Game of the Year version or Ultimate Edition, whatever it's called. But yeah, PS4 still seems new to me. Anyhow, PS4 still seems new to me. Anyhow, says Guarana. Yeah, I mean, we all said that we don't think, or a lot of us said it was too early for these consoles. And apparently they think so as well, because they're keeping a lot of their stuff. And it was so funny. So let me point out the hypocrisy of especially Sony fanboys who were gnawing at Xbox for, oh, the Xbox is holding back, new titles. That was the thing. Can you really say that anymore? I don't think you can say that anymore, because apparently there's going to be quite a few cross-gen games for PS4 to PS5. Are they holding back the PS5 versions? I really like to know the answer to that. And Sony's so good because they wait to the last minute. They let their fans get all ginned up about something, and then they wait to the last minute to, the tear down their dreams. And they don't even care though. They'll just move on to something else. They'll move back to the hard drive, the SSD. But yeah, so their games are also going to PC. So that, making fun of Microsoft for that argument is gone. And now this is the one thing I was like, holy crap! They had the nerve to put console exclusive in their event, and I'm like, so much crap was given to Microsoft for their console exclusive. I mean, I did. I thought it was funny, but I wasn't jarring at it like the fanboys were jarring at it. It was like, oh, that was a talking point. That was a sticking point to make fun of Microsoft for console exclusive. So I know at least one that I can think of off the top of my head, and in our Juices Loose Google chats of people who used to make fun of Microsoft for their console exclusive and their that whole thing. So I'm wondering if they're gonna do Sony. They're gonna give Sony the same nudging. I don't think they will, but we'll see if we're gonna be fair in these things. So console exclusive, that was funny. Cross-gen games from PS4 to PS5 was pretty hilarious too. So that's what happens when you get a little too excited, especially when it comes to Sony, because they're good at ginning their fan base up. They're really good at. They're the best at doing that. And then the details come out, and there's some backwalking that has to be done. Mr. Roboto says my favorite is the 5th gen. Megawara Link. He have like 3 GTA games that era. Lucius Mend. 3 GTA games in one era. Remember when we got that? Now we're waiting. Now we have one GTA game in 3 generations. Think about that. We had GTA 5 and the 6th, 7th, and soon to be 8th gen. And back then we had 3 GTA games in one era. So it's pretty crazy. $70 games, says Megawara Link. Yep, $70 games. I'm not feeling that at all. I will, fight that as best as I can. Find all kinds of deals. I will wait because I'm not feeling $70 games at all. In my opinion, Sony's big mistake was making those title. It jumped. I hate when it does that jumping. Let me scroll back up and hope I find my spot. Rufus says GameCube was a little underplayed. I mean, like underrated. Certainly was underrated. My favorite. Oh, I read that already. Okay, so God, why does it jump so far? All right, let me see if I use my arrows. That'll be better. In my opinion, says Gamer Knight, Sony big mistake was making those titles cross-gen. I mean, I think, I don't really have a problem with it. But competition-wise, the narrative-wise, it was a mistake because now you don't have that narrative anymore. Oh, the Xbox One is holding back Xbox Series X games. Look at Halo. It's been held back. Okay, so is Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Frozen? What is it? The next one called the West, something West. Is that game being held back by the PS4? I mean, we got to be consistent in our rhetoric. Am I correct about that, or no? Only when it comes to Microsoft, we can talk this stuff. Let's see. Guarana PS4 still seems new. I read it already. Lucius feels like the next gen will repeat itself as another worse PC box. I hope not, but I guess it could. Mr. Roboto, I know a lot of people who want 3D All-Stars because they never played Sunshine. Hey, I said that. Like I said, I have no problem with the cost of it, and there's a lot of people that it's a really good value for. People who haven't played these older games and they don't have a way to play them. This is great for them. So, my perspective is, if there's games in an era that you haven't played that you would look to play, why not try to get that system? Because for me, it's like, okay, so you get to play Sunshine. That's it. Is there some reason you owned a GameCube and you didn't buy Sunshine as a Mario fan? Or like, I don't like, so if you were too young and you just never played GameCube games, get a GameCube, because there's plenty of stuff on there that you would like to play. And there's really good options now to hook your GameCube up to your modern television and it looked really nice. I've reviewed those options. So I just don't understand why cut yourself off or wait for Nintendo to, spoon feed you game here, game there, when you can go out and get whatever the hell you want and not have to wait for Nintendo to put it on the current console. Because you do that, you might be waiting forever. Because there's tons of stuff that they still haven't done yet at this point. So that's my thing. Why not take that money, invest it in a console where you can get way more games that you missed out on instead of just one game that you missed out on. That's my only contention with that. Like, I understand, people who I just want to play Sunshine. Okay, great. This is a great way to do so. But I'm like, if you're going to spend that, why not go ahead and get the system and you can buy a whole lot of other things that I'm sure you enjoy. I can name you quite a few cool games on the GameCube that you missed if you didn't play GameCube. But that's just my mentality. That's how I think. Let's see. Hard luck. I asked for the GameCube for Christmas and my dad thought it was for kids. Talked me into getting the Xbox. How old were you? Weren't you a kid? Even if you believed that, weren't you a kid that should have had an Xbox or should have had a GameCube? I hope you got some cool games for the Xbox, because there were some. There's a pretty good amount of cool games on Xbox, but hey, ain't no Nintendo games on there, man. I think your dad just wanted the Xbox. Gamer Night. The price of both versions of the consoles is acceptable for me. Acceptable from both companies. What do you mean both companies? The price. Oh, I read that already. Just read that. Lucius Min. Well, no, it's not acceptable for Sony. The Xbox counterpart is stronger, yet Sony is selling for the same price. Man, that's another thing. Um, Xbox One is more powerful. Now there'll be some sidestep arguments to say, oh well, we got the better exclusives, so that means you have to charge $100 more for, or you have to charge that cost for your PlayStation. Well, the SSD. Well, there's an SSD in Xbox. Maybe it's not as fast. I don't know. I'm gonna wait to see what the differences are before I figure that out. But again, we're talking what, 2 teraflops of power, more power in the Xbox One or Xbox Series X. You're gonna have to justify your price, Sony, outside of or explain your price outside of, oh, we got better exclusives. That has nothing to do with the hardware. Um, I know they tried to tell us that they have different types of teraflops. That was their. When I heard that, I was like, I know where that price is probably gonna be the same. There's not gonna be $100 difference, I don't think. And lo and behold, both consoles are at $500. So we'll see where it goes. And I guess you can get the digital one. I don't see a lot of people excited to get the digital one. I was surprised by that. I'm sure there'll be some people who will get it, and they'll be fine with it. But you're gonna miss out on a lot of benefits, or some benefits, like bringing over your PS4 games that you already bought. So I don't know. You got to give us some justification for that price. They shouldn't be the same price as the more powerful console. I don't think. But we'll see what happens. um, that's what you were saying. The price of both versions of consoles, Gamer Night, is acceptable. And then Lucius is like, no. I agree with Lucius. I don't think they're both acceptable at this point. Why is the Xbox console more powerful, yet the same price? You got some explaining to do, Sony. Let's see. Make it cheaper, cheapskates, says Lucius. I'm still playing my PS4 for one more year, says Magwara Link. Same here, probably more than that. Laker Link, does Horizon 2 have a launch date? I didn't see one. Does anybody know? There were some details released later. I don't think there was one for Horizon 2. But I could be wrong. Best version of Onimusha is on Xbox. I will agree with that. Lucius, I will agree with that. Guarana, Hard Luck says he was 14. So you were a kid. I mean, you weren't a young kid, but so either your dad was looking at that purple lunchbox and like, that's too kiddie for you. And you know what's funny? Because I've gotten to this argument with somebody on one of my old videos from like 3 years ago. This guy's been going back and forth with me. It was the one where I did Wii. It was Wii versus GameCube. I got to bring that series back. My Versus series. I did the Wii versus GameCube, and this guy was completely butthurt about the jabs I was throwing at GameCube, even though they were like sarcastic, obviously funny jabs I was throwing at GameCube. I love my GameCube, but anyway, he got really upset and said the GameCube or the Wii was the era when people started thinking Nintendo was kiddie. I'm like, no, it wasn't. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. That would be the N64. Because Nintendo lost a lot of third-party companies that would have made the library a lot more diverse. And so a lot of stuff that came out, the bigger titles for that system were from Rare and Nintendo. And they all had a kind of cartoonish kind of feel to them. And that's when Nintendo got that kiddie moniker. You can say Super Nintendo a little bit when Sega went after them and tried to make them look not as cool as they were, but it was really N64. And then GameCube just exploded it because you come out with this purple lunchbox. You come out with this purple cube with a handle on the back, and you have these baby-sized DVDs. And one of the things you touted during your reveal of that console was that the discs were small enough to fit in a child's hands. That came out of Miyamoto's mouth, and then what's his name? His translator. He translated it for him, and that's what he said. So that was the emphasis, that the disc would be able to fit in a child's hands. And you have a little handle on the back. You can carry it around the house like a little purse or a little lunchbox. And, so he was trying to tell me, no. GameCube had power, and the kitty stuff came from the lack of power. No, power had nothing to do with the kitty moniker that the Nintendo got. It had to do with the loss of third party, and then Nintendo defining their console with their games. And then the GameCube's look. So, anyway. Let's see. Sony, big mad. They couldn't undercut Microsoft, says Real Gamer. Yeah, I caught the end of your stream before I got on, and I heard you say that about the undercutting thing and how they were able to do that against Sega Saturn. And they did that, they flossed on Microsoft, Xbox One as well. But yeah, I know, and I said I don't see how they're going to be able to undercut Microsoft this time. And I don't, and Sony is not about taking a loss anymore. They're out of that era. They left that era with the PS4. They got a tiny fraction of a profit on the hardware with the PS4. At least initially, it got cheaper for them, and they made more profit off of the hardware. But they're not about going down that path anymore, because that path was near bankruptcy for them, and they're not trying to do that anymore. So I said, there's no way. It's once Microsoft dropped $500, because I said there could be a chance it could be $6, but they said they were going to be competitive, and they weren't kidding. So Sony's unable to undercut them this time. They have the more powerful console, and they're exactly the same price with their physical one. Now, obviously, it's less power in the Series S, but most people, again, the casual average consumer is not going to see or understand that. They're just going to know, oh, this is the digital version of the Xbox One X or the Xbox X or Xbox Series X. That's so confusing. They're just going to see it as that. Now, we know it's less powerful and whatnot, but the average consumer is going to look at the games and be like, it looks just as good to me for the most part, and then whatever the sell-through rates are on people who actually have 4K televisions and all that stuff. It is 1440p, which is 4K. It's a 4K console. So at the end of the day, people aren't going to understand the difference, and they're going to look at it and it's like, some people are going to be like, oh, I like my God of Wars, I like my Spider-Mans, and I like my Last of Us's, and my, what's the other one? I just said Horizon. And then, but some people feel the same way about their Halos and their Forzas, and their Gears, and those games are going to come, and so there's going to be that. But the thing is, there's not going to be a price difference. There's going to be a way cheaper console than the two top consoles, and it's going to be different this era. It's not going to be Sony by themselves while the other guys make mistakes. The Switch still has a few more years, according to Nintendo. they still believe they have a few more years in it. If they revise the system to make it a little bit beefier, add some RAM and whatnot, overclock the CPU, stuff like that, they can squeeze some more out of it. And so Nintendo's doing well, and Microsoft is starting off well, other than having like a major title at launch. But I've said a billion times, launch titles only matter for Nintendo consoles, because these other guys never really have. Original Xbox had a pretty good launch lineup, but historically, Microsoft or Sony don't have big major must-have titles at launch. They, PS1 through PS4. Sure, there's gonna be some games people will point out I like those games. Somebody tried to tell me Twisted Metal, and I'm like, it's a good game, but it's not like, a system seller. I gotta have that. Somebody else, the same guy was like, was it Killzone? Like, Killzone? Okay, it's not a system seller. So it's gonna be different. We're gonna see what happens this generation, especially with Game Pass in full swing at this point. I have Game Pass. Like, why do I have Game Pass? I said this is not for me, and it is in a way not for me, because I went a whole month without even turning on my Xbox. But I still have Game Pass, and they still got their money. So that happens. So we'll see. Guarana, when this thing go all digital, the oldies like me will stop buying. Probably time will tell. Yeah, that's what I said. I'm not gonna be in this digital. I mean, I'm old anyway, so I can easily just stop and just go and get everything from before. That's what old people do. We go back and we enjoy stuff we played when we were younger. So there's plenty of video games in the world where I don't have to. I'll still once in a while buy a digital game in the not only digital era, but I won't be active the way I am now without physical media. So, let's see. I'm gonna use these arrows so I don't jump too far. CK Uzumaki, wow, what's up? Biggest problem I have with the 3D collection is that finding out that both Galaxy and Sunshine were running emulated on the NVIDIA Shield. One just wasn't released. How is it worth $60? Yeah, I pointed out the fact that Galaxy was already in HD on the Shield. I didn't know about Sunshine though. I guess it was made, but it never came out. So that just makes it. I mean, it's just so lazy and cheap. That just makes it worse. Because I didn't know about Sunshine. I knew about Galaxy. I talked about that. So they really did nothing. Wow. Thanks for that information, CK. Gamer Night. People I know who have a large library of digital games still prefer disc versions of the consoles for multiple reasons, including backwards compatibility, etc. Wait, let me read that again because I don't think I understood it. People I know who do have large library of digital games still prefer disc. Okay, so yeah. I have disc stuff or cart stuff. So I'll buy a game on cart, or I'll buy a game digitally, and if it comes out on cart later, I'll buy the cart. I have a few games that I have shrink wrapped, because I have it digitally. But it makes me feel good because I know if something happens to my hard drive or the store disappears, especially on Nintendo. That's what happens. The store just disappears, and you lose all your digital stuff at some point, and you can't re-download it. I know at least I have that physical copy later on. I have a few games on Switch, at least 7 or 8 games on Switch where I bought them digitally at first, and then they came out with a physical version, and I copped that later, just because I want that physical version. Because you never know what will happen to your hardware. Gamer Night people. Oh, I read that. Gamer Night, but N64 is still cool thanks to GoldenEye and wrestling games. Yeah, I love my N64. I mean, people. For some reason, people seem to act like the N64 is harder to go back to than the PS1. Okay. Maybe I'm just reading that wrong. They just think that whole era is hard to go back to, but not for me. Again, they are really good ways to play these games on current setups that look nice. There was a time where, it wasn't nice to go back to them. That's why I kept my... You can't see it in this shot here, but you've seen it before. My CRT. That's why I kept that, because I'll always be able to play it on that, and it's lasted this long. I don't need it to last anymore. It's still a nostalgic thing for me to be able to play my VHSs on it. because I still do play VHSs on my CRT for nostalgia. Again, I'm in the middle with midlife crisis. I'm going through that, so you tend to want to go back to things that you did when you were half your age. But yeah, like it's I think that era is still very playable. I play N64, PS1 games all the time, so I don't understand that mentality. And even stuff I didn't grow up with, I like to go back and try and check out. But there really isn't anything I didn't grow up with because I'm old. So I mean, I got to play them when I was younger. I didn't own them, like the Coleco and Atari. Well, Atari 2600 I played a lot, but we didn't. I didn't own it. It was another family member that owned it. So, all right, where we are. All right, so trying to get to everybody's comment. All right, so nobody comment for a minute. I'm gonna take a break. I gotta put my kids to bed, and I'll be back. So hang on. All right, so no, they're not done. I didn't put them to bed completely yet. I let them know it's time to go to bed, so they're gonna run and brush their teeth and all that good stuff. So I'll be on with you until they're actually ready to get in the bed and be tucked in. The little darlings, my little darlings. Let's see, where am I? I think I went too far. Sony. Yes, the Mortal Kombat. Laker Link. CK Uzumaki. Sony has to be losing a ton of money on PS5 digital, just like Microsoft. I don't know. I mean, I think they're losing something. Because if you look at the parts and all that stuff, there's differences. But I think they did all the parts comparisons and they came up to like $450 for the PS5, and so the non-digital one, if you take off the drive, it would be $400. So maybe they're right on the cusp. I don't know if I don't think they're losing money. If they are, it's very minuscule. Sony has gotten very frugal after the PS3. So, Laker Link. SNES was when people thought Nintendo was kiddie because of Mortal Kombat being censored, and no SNES CD, even though no one thought of Sega. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that era as well, but there was still an aura. There was still an is that the right word? Aura of with Nintendo, because of they still had the best games. They still had great third party. And they still had, so yeah, people, I don't think kiddie was the term. I think family friendly. There was a family friendly edge, if you will, to Nintendo that Sega tried to be too cool for. But I don't think it really hit Nintendo. The full on kiddiness, the full on kiddie narrative didn't really hit Nintendo until N64, because a lot of people still thought Super Nintendo was a cool platform. There was still games on Super Nintendo, great games, with the Final Fantasy series that you couldn't get on Sega Genesis. So Yeah, they lost a little luster, but I don't think full kitty hit them until N64. You know, speaking from, I mean, I think we're close to the same age, Laker Link, so I'm sure you remember it the same way. Um, let's see. No? Yeah, Guarana. Yes, the Mortal Kombat thing hurt Nintendo's image for a while after that. Yeah, it was definitely a sting, but I would say like hardcore gamerness didn't really hit. It didn't really hit the same way. I think it was media wise. Yeah, they looked again family friendly. They tried to play it up. They had Howard Lincoln in the hearings with the Senate hearings, trying to point the finger. Oh no, we're the family friendly good company. Sega is the one putting out this stalker games with Night Trap, and they have blood in their Mortal Kombat. We have green goo, stuff like that, and then Sega pulled out like the Sega lawyer pulled out the Super Scope 6 when Nintendo was trying to act like, oh no, we're more family friendly. They pulled out this damn bazooka attachment for the Super Nintendo to make them look stupid. It was just a silly time in gaming. But even with all that, I think most fans weren't paying attention to that stuff. We know about a lot of that now, but as a gamer fan, that was in that era. I mean, it's easy to look back and look at the news and the narratives, but if you were a kid in that era, I don't think you saw it the same way as it's seen now. If you were a kid, because I didn't see it that way. I was just like, I like Sega, I like Nintendo. We got into spats about graphics and stuff like that in school. Who had the better graphics and who had was Sonic better than Mario, that kind of stuff. But it wasn't about who was cooler or who was soft and who was hard when it came to gaming. That was talked about more after the fact, not during that era as much. At least from my perspective. Sony has to be losing. I read that already. I keep reading the same things I read. Laughing my ass off. You pissed somebody off. Was it from what I was talking about earlier? Hard luck with the guy and my Wii versus GameCube. Lucius, Sony made it seem like they had high-profile exclusives. Look at Final Fantasy 16, where they put exclusive in the big letters at the end. No way Square is gonna make that exclusive. It's console exclusive, so it'll be on PC. But I'm glad you brought up that because I almost forgot about Square. I don't like where Final Fantasy has been going in the last few years. I didn't like Final Fantasy 15, although it was probably the best Final Fantasy in a while. And I don't like what they did mechanically to Final Fantasy 7 Remake. They're trying to westernize their games, and you can clearly see that in Final Fantasy 16. It's just looks really bland and dry as far as like the atmosphere and the characters. It's very much trying to be Western, but still having the Japanese kind of look, and it's just like it's weird. It's like they're trying to do this medieval thing, yet you got like chocobos walking around. It's just I don't know. It feels weird and off-putting. Like it's not like that's new to Final Fantasy, but there was still way more fantasy in it. This seems like my boy Clocked It said it looked like The Witcher at times, and I'm like that's so true. That works for The Witcher, but not for a Final Fantasy game. And I just do not like where they're going with that. And I don't like where Capcom is going with Resident Evil. Some people like it. I get it. That's fine. But there's no personality. It feels like there's no personality to the last two Resident Evil games. Resident Evil 7. Now, the remakes are great. I haven't gotten them yet, but I will. I don't support Capcom with my day one money, or I don't get because I'm boycotting them. But they look really good. The remakes look really good. But Final Fantasy 7 or Final Fantasy 7, Um, um, Resident Evil 7 and now Resident Evil 8. I just don't like them. They're ugly to me. Um, I, the characters don't have any personality. Um, they're just bland now, and it's just for me. It's like the westernizing of Japanese games, and I don't like it. I want Japanese games to remain Japanese games, and let Western games do their thing. Um, and it just feels like the East trying to chase the West dollars. And Capcom tried to do that in the 7th gen. Didn't work out too well for them. They lost a lot of money. So I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they think it'll work this time. Maybe it will. I don't know. But I don't like where it's going. So let's see. Laker Link, Lucius. Oh, he's talking to Lucius there. Gamer Night. Would you say Xbox Series S is Switch killer at $299? No. Because again, the Switch is still the Switch, and it allows you to play anywhere, anytime, and it still has a great exclusives. So I don't think it'll kill it. Maybe it'll cut into it. Like somebody might decide, do you want a next gen console? Do you want a Switch? If you want a Switch, you're probably gonna get a Switch. So I don't see, but maybe it might change the mind of a dad or something out there. It's like, well, I can get this cool streaming box that plays next gen titles, which the Switch does not, for the same price. So there's gonna be some people who choose the Switch or choose the Series S over the Switch, but I don't think it'd be anything significant. So, cross-gen gonna be at least 2 years. Yeah, cross-gen is gonna be at least 2 years. Real gamer, you know that. I know that. I said that pretty much in the beginning, and then Microsoft pretty much confirmed it by saying, for the first 2 years, they're gonna cross-gen their stuff, and they want to transition into the next console. So they probably think it's better than just like cutting it off and then moving to the next console. It's probably, maybe they've seen something in the numbers that says that's a better way to go. I can't really dispute it. So Laker Link 360 Perfect Dark Zero was a huge system seller. Yeah. It was an anti-system seller. That game was trash. What a disappointment that game was. But yeah, 360's launch. What was great from 360's launch? What was great from PS2's launch? PS1's launch? PS3's launch? Not a whole lot. PS4, you can say, well, I like Infamous Second Son, or I like... Don't say Killzone Shadowfall, for Christ's sakes. I'll give you Infamous Second Son. But system seller, I don't know. It was very flashy graphics-wise, so maybe it sold systems for some people. But for the most part, Sony systems, Xbox systems don't have killer apps at launch, or at least, killer apps, yeah, games that are like, oh man, I gotta have that game, I gotta have this system for that game. Xbox One, what did it have? Rise, Son of Rome? No, nope. It had a decent lineup, if you look at it, but yeah, Rise, there wasn't really anything there. Let's see. Link, I read that. Jamie 7 Towers. Gaming dies once physical media dies. It certainly does for me. I've said it a million times. I can't say for everybody, but for me it does. There will be resistance, says Jamie. Yeah, then I'm sure there will be. But more and more people, are buying digital games. I think it was, I think towards the end of this generation, it was like 60-40, digital versus physical. But 40 is still a pretty high percentage. And I'm in that 40 that would rather have physical. And how much of that 40 will fight and claw for physical is the question. Because if enough of them will, then they won't get rid of them. But If you get it down to say 5% people who don't want to buy digital only, it's going to be gone. I can't see many people opting for the no disc version of PS5. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a strange situation. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure. Because some people just do not care. Like I said, I have students. They don't care. They don't have this affinity for physical games. They grew up with whatever. They play on their phones. Like I said, and they don't really care as much. They play 2 or 3 games. Anyway, um, I think, I think, I believe anyway. Um, 25 and up age group is what's holding up gaming. And if these younger kids come in droves and they're like the main gamers, there's going to be a lot of things that need to change in gaming because these kids don't have loyalties to stuff the way we do, and it's going to be some changes. So the industry better get ready for that. Lucius Men, physical is close to dying when a new console has no disc version from the get go. Yeah, I mean, I think that might even be the case next generation after this one or after this coming gen. You never know. It could be. So I think my kids are ready. So hang on, and I will be right back. Okay, so it went black. I was wondering because my music selection is short for the "Be Right Back" thing, and I was wondering if it was gonna go black or not. I wonder no more. It went black. All right. Hope I didn't lose anybody thinking I was gone. Looks like everybody's still here. All right. New systems. Whoa. Another super jump. Why you jump on me? Oh, now I went too far up. Show. All right. goodness, I'm trying to find you guys' comments here. So, told you, I tell y'all he's old. This gamer, real gamer. Okay, so I can't see people opting for no disc versions. There's Jamie. Jamie, new systems seem to have little to offer other than graphical upgrades and storage space. Yeah, not much I've seen so far. That it's like, oh my gosh, this is the next gen. It's amazing. I gotta have that. I gotta play that. I haven't really seen anything like that. So let's see. Gaming dies in a traditional sense, maybe, but then it'll live on smartphones in what I call microtransactions hell, says Gamer Night. Are you calling me old because my screen went black? Real gamer? Jamie, microtransactions should have never been allowed, but this is what happens when technology is abused for financial gain. Well, not only that, this is what happens when the gamers do nothing about it. We have all the power, but if we sit back and make excuses for companies, and because I have a video 5 years ago talking about the how microtransactions and all that stuff is going to destroy gaming, and there's a lot of downvotes on that video, more upvotes, but a lot of downvotes. And so, people don't want to hear that stuff. And so, this is what we get. We get an industry that, knows they can lie to your face the way 505 did when it came to Control. Straight lie to your face, show you that they're lying by mistakenly putting out the update for everybody. And then people are just going to forget about it after a while and move on and buy the next thing, and it's not even going to be a thing, because gamers are what gamers do. If we're not making excuses, we don't pay attention, don't care enough. We make the excuse that, it's just gaming, I'm just here to have fun, I don't care about that stuff. And then before you know, the stuff that you do care about will also be in that same situation, and it'll be too late by then. So unfortunately, that's where we are. Are you a fan of Die Hard Arcade on Saturn? Hard luck. I totally am. I love Die Hard Arcade. Me and my friend, my best friend, back in the day, we played it in the arcade, and we fell in love with that game on the arcade, and we both got Saturns about the same time. I talked him into buying a Saturn, and we love playing our Die Hard Arcade on Saturn. So, yes. The answer is yes. Lucius Mend. Sony showed off the UE4 engine, but none of the launch games come close to it. In fact, most of them still look as good as Rise, a damn Xbox One launch title. Yeah, Rise is a good-looking game. It could use some work in the gameplay, but it's still a very good-looking game. And yeah, this is what Sony does. Why are people so surprised? Sony geeks everybody up. And it's not like that Unreal Engine is not going to run and look beautiful on the Xbox Series X. Because it is. First of all, it's the more powerful console. So, of course, I don't understand. I don't understand gamers. I really want to understand them. But I don't understand gamers who, Sony showed it, so only their system is going to be able to look that good and do. No. They paid a good amount of money to geek you guys up. They paid Unreal. They paid Unreal. Who is that? The company? Who's Unreal? They paid them, and geek you guys up, get you excited, and give you some talking points, so you can go to the fanboy arena and shout how great your PS5 is over the Xbox. And then it just comes out. All this stuff comes. It happens every generation with Sony. That's why I feel like the freaking Sony fanboys are the most annoying, because they see this stuff happen all the time, but yet they run out there with their pitchforks, they run out there with their battle gear, and they go to war, and they know this stuff is going to come back around, and they're going to, it'll be what was on the front page, what was front page news, will go back and get retracted on page 8 later on. This cross-gen talk, that's going to be on page 8 when it comes to Sony fans. The cross-gen, it's holding, your PS4, your Xbox is holding back. Your Xbox One is holding back the Series X. That stuff, no, the PS4 is doing the exact same thing. That stuff's going to end up on page 8. There will be no, what's the word I'm looking for? There'll be no consequences. There'll be no consequences to some of the stuff they ran out there and skipped out there to tout. It's all in good pugilism. Same thing with console exclusive. Remember how they jumped on Microsoft's head about console exclusives, and now Sony is doing the same thing. But again, the rebuttal will be on page 8. It will not be it will not be front page Sony fanboy news. It'll be on page 8. Same goes for, first party titles going to PC. That's page 8 stuff, man. We moved on. We're talking about that SSD right now. And they're just going to move that goalpost. And that's what makes them so annoying. But it is what it is. What can I say? Gamer Night. Agreed. I hate mobile gaming for that reason. River Andean. I am getting 3D All-Stars only because Sunshine is hard to find. It's not hard to find. It's just expensive. There's plenty of them for sale. But it's at full price and more at this point. I don't know what happened to GameCube sales. They exploded this year. But that's what it is. Gamer Night. Right. Nothing from both sides looks wow. No, not really. I'm excited to play a couple of games here and there, but nothing looks like, oh my god, next gen. Head blown, mind blown, head explodes. Nothing. Gamer Night. That's the only reason I bought it too, for Sunshine. Yeah, I hear that a lot. A lot of people are buying it for Sunshine, which is, again, my least favorite 3D Mario game. So there's some irony there for me. It's like, oh, you're buying it for Sunshine? Why? But, I know there's a lot of nostalgia for Sunshine. Jamie Towers, 3D All-Stars is incomplete without Galaxy 2. True. Lucius Men, so Galaxy 2 isn't hidden in the game, right? I saw a bunch of clickbait YouTubers making a fuss about some news. Yeah. Only thing that annoys me more than Sony fanboys is how do I put it? The YouTube culture clickbaiters. The ones who know what they're doing. They know how to just mend these words. They put these thumbnails out there. And if you challenge them, they'll cry to high heaven. I wasn't doing that. That's what I was trying to do. Yeah, you were. And so you would have people in their titles of their videos put Mario Galaxy 2 hidden in 3D All-Stars, knowing it wasn't. Knowing what they were about to tell you wasn't even close to revealing that it would be in some way. So they put music from Mario Galaxy 2 in the trailer for 3D All-Stars, and that means Galaxy 2 is hidden in the game. It's complete bullshit. Like, it makes no sense. It is just utter garbage clickbait crap. and it's annoying. And they do these things, and for the most part, there's no consequences, and that's what I can't stand. Fans of these guys, fans of these brand flake YouTube channels, will just keep supporting this nonsense. And I feel like the YouTuber, the YouTube watcher from 4 years ago wouldn't. They'd call these guys out. There would be multiple comments. This is despicable. Why are you clickbaiting? Blah 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 blah. But we're in the again. We're in the era of fake. Everybody likes to hear fake news. They like it. They get excited by it, and they know it's bullshit. Like, they know it, but they want to be excited by it. They want that endorphin. They want to get that endorphin adrenaline rush from, clicking on something they know is going to be completely fake, and they don't call these people out who do it, and they get rewarded for it. You've seen so many 3D All-Stars videos this week and last week because people are clicking on 3D All-Stars videos. There's so many views for these 3D All-Star videos. I'm a little surprised by it because it's like, okay, it's 3 old Nintendo games. Like, if this is the Wii U era and there was 3 old Nintendo games coming out, nobody would give a damn. Nobody would care. But we're in the Switch era, so 3 old lazy Nintendo emulated ports gets all this ink and clicks, and it's just mind-boggling to me. It's strange. Because a game like Wind Waker HD, which is glorious, didn't get near that ink, that amount of attention. Hell, even Twilight Princess HD, they went in and like redid textures to match up and get ready for stuff that was going to be shown in Breath of the Wild. Do you guys remember that? Like, you know that? Like, that's the thing. They went in and redid textures to sprinkle little breadcrumbs for Breath of the Wild even. And that's phenomenal. Nobody, I mean, there was some fanfare around it, but more people would lose their minds about those games coming to Switch. And they're still the same games, but the Switch fever, man, it's worse than Corona. I don't know. It's like, it's strange. I mean, I'm glad as a Nintendo fan that Nintendo is getting due, but I want them to get it for reasons, specific reasons, not just because the console is popular. So I'm old. What can I say? So Galaxy. Oh, I read that already. No one thought Mario as Kitty during the SNES age. It was just uncool. Yeah. Mario went to uncool mainly because, the Sega and Sonic. They did some really good marketing against Mario. But console-wise, it wasn't until N64 that the Kitty thing started. From my memory. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Because, I felt like I was the big boy. I'm not playing anything past Super Nintendo, so I wasn't even going to get the next gen. I was just going to be done with video games. But I had my friend talk me into N64, so I got really into everything, following everything, the news, how people felt about stuff. It wasn't until, N64, Mario 64 even, it's a cartoon, it's a kid's game. all the Nintendo style games are cartoons. They're very cartoonish in nature, and so when you have a system where a lot of its success relied on Nintendo games and rare games, which are colorful platformers, and that's what the system is known for. Outside of something like Perfect Dark and GoldenEye, then people are going to say, "Oh, that's the more kid-friendly system." Even though there was a lot of mature games on N64, people remember it for the bigger games from Nintendo and Rare. So, Lucius, no one even talks about Final Fantasy VII Remake anymore. It feels like leave it to the Square to ruin a classic. Yeah, I mean, I saw somebody not too long ago was like goaty for Final Fantasy VII Remake, but I'm like, come on. It looks good. I can get into why, like again, the battle mechanics and stuff like that I don't care about. I don't like the westernization of my classic RPGs, so I'll just keep pounding, the old guy pounding at the new stuff. But I don't. Yeah, I think you're right. Not a lot of people talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake at this point. Let's see. Nintendo has a problem. Its first-party games are geared towards kids, and the company has been known for its opposition to games with violence and adult themes. Sony helped fill that void. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Sony came in and took all the developers that would have been on Nintendo, but mainly because of the cartridge format that happened. Because, Square was ready to build Final Fantasy for the N64, and they were like, we can't do all the things we want to do on these little ass carts. 32, and at the max, 32 was, the cart you got from the beginning, but I don't think there was a ton of those because they were expensive. And then 64 is the biggest they got, 64 megabytes compared to 600 megabytes on the CD, 600 or 700 megabytes. Yeah, I mean, sure, you have to deal with loading and all that stuff, but it was cheaper and easier to make games for the PlayStation. So a lot of people went there, and so Nintendo was left to their own devices to make games for their own consoles. Now, I don't think Nintendo was against stuff like that because you always hear this stuff about. You got Bayonetta, and it was Nintendo's idea, maybe even Miyamoto, but it was Nintendo's idea to advertise, what was it, Conker's Bad Fur Day, to advertise in Playboy. That was Nintendo's idea. Same thing with Bayonetta. That was Nintendo's idea to get this risque model to be the mascot. So Nintendo isn't. They're not good at doing those games themselves. They're not against those games. There was a time, again, like I said, in the early '90s, where they wanted to, stand on their pedestal and look like the good guy. But they only did that because they were worried about Sega. That wasn't something that was in their heart. Sure, their games are family friendly, and I don't think I don't look at Mario's kids games. Because I would challenge any kid to 100% a Mario game, any one of them. But visually, they're for everyone. They don't want to put anybody off. So when you want to please everyone, you end up pleasing only this group. It just happens all the time. So let's see. Nintendo first party game. I just read that. Jamie, Final Fantasy VII Remake was just a reimagining of Midgar. The remake didn't touch the rest of the original. And that's why it shouldn't be called Remake. It should be called Final Fantasy VII Midgar. I don't think anybody would have had a problem with that. They know what it looks like. They don't need the title to have remake in it for people to be, whatever. They could have just called it Final Fantasy VII Midgar. Everybody knows it's a remake just by looking at it. And it's just Midgar. So, but by calling it Final Fantasy VII Remake, you're saying this is the remake of the original game, which it is clearly not. It's not the full game. So you can't do that. Final Fantasy 16 didn't look good, says Brybe. Yeah, it didn't look good. I was going back and forth. Like, the minute I saw it, I was like, my first thought was like, oh, this is Final Fantasy 7. But the more I looked at it, I was like, oh, maybe it's not. Or Final Fantasy 7. Final Fantasy 16. But the more I looked at it, I was like, maybe it's not, because it just kept looking like a super bland Western RPG. And it didn't have that same kind of quirky, feel that you get from Final Fantasy games, which is what I like. So yeah, it didn't look good to me. Lair. Come on, man. Somebody's talking about Lair. Lair as a system seller. Oh, trash. That Lair killed one of my favorite companies in Factor 5. That game, like I said, the 7th gen just wrecked companies left and right. It almost got Capcom. Laker Link. PS4 had Knack at launch, the Mario Killer. Why y'all playing? Why y'all playing right now? The Mario Killer Knack. Oh, man. I was supposed to do my Wii U, what do you call it? Wii U collection video, but I'm not doing that now. It's too late to start that. So just in case you were wondering if I was going to still do that, no. But I will do it tomorrow night. So return. I want to do it because all my Wii U stuff is like right in front of me here, and it's in the way, and it's been in the way for 3 days because I was supposed to do this last night and I was too tired. And then tonight, the PS5 talk went on longer than I was thinking, along with 3D Mario, 3D All-Star stuff. So tomorrow for that, if you're wondering. For those of you who saw that. What's up, T, says Kahuna. What's up, Kahuna, if you're still around. Jonathan Reed, Epic makes Unreal. Epic. Okay, thank you. I knew it wasn't Epic to come. I don't know why. Again, I turn these lights on, and I lose some brain power. But thank you for that, Jonathan Reed. CK, I actually believe PS5 Digital may be the better selling version, or close. PS4 already requires you to install your games, so the storage medium these games come on are just for storage. I mean, that's the same for anything, though. Xbox, it's $100 cheaper, and Xbox requires you to install your game. Everybody requires you to install your games, so it's getting to a point where why do I have to have this disc? Why can't I just install the game? So yeah, I mean, it's what's happening everywhere. So we'll see how people react in the future to physical versus digital. I think physical's going to lose, and they're going to lose me. Sean White. Oh, I got Sean White in here. You still doing your snowboard? Is it snowboarding with Sean White? Yeah, snowboarding thing, Sean White. Reminds me of how I tried to unlock Goro on Mortal Kombat SNES. The good old days. The good old days. Yeah, but T, if you play the Mario 3D All-Stars trailer music from Galaxy 2 backwards and in slow motion, it says may or may not be a hidden game in the game in a demon's voice. Says Guarana. That's hilarious. I actually saw a video. Well, I didn't watch it. I didn't click on that. It's probably Game Explain, where the whole L is real statue, the star statue in the middle of the courtyard you know where I'm talking about, Mario 64 in the castle courtyard. That whole L is real thing. They said now there's an HD. It was clickbait. I didn't click it. Did it actually say L is real? If you saw it, let me know. Listen, people. Wait, what? It jumped. Yeah, but okay. Jack Gates, you talking about the Finesse Station 5 yet? Yeah, I already talked about it a lot, actually, Jack. I don't know if you just jumped in, but yeah. Listen, people, says CK. Listen, people may view Nintendo as kiddie or family friendly because of their games, but once upon a time, they had love hotels. People, the family friendly image was probably used to rebrand. Yeah, and that love hotels, that was after they were making consoles, so that was like Super Nintendo era, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I mean, like I said, Nintendo themselves, they make family, quote unquote, family friendly games. But they're not afraid of mature games. Every one of their consoles has a plethora of mature titles. I mean, obviously N64 didn't have a ton of games, but there were quite a few. I'm pretty sure I own every mature title, and it was a significant portion of that library. So they're not opposed to it. Good old days where you could unlock cool shit instead of paying for them as DLC, says Lucius. Yep, that was the good old days. Some companies still do that, but it's very rare today. Damn you too. LOL, I get that joke a lot about my name. Sorry, Sean, I couldn't help myself. Jamie Towers, gamers these days don't even remember what gaming was like pre-DLC. You used to actually unlock things already in the full game you purchased. Yeah, you know what's funny, Jamie, and who else brought up that point? Lucius. The funny thing is when you got a game that had a ton of content in it that you couldn't get right away, that you had to unlock. It was still free, but you had to unlock it. People got mad that they had to waste their time to unlock it. And I'm talking about Smash Brothers Ultimate. Remember when people got upset that a lot of the most of the characters were you had to unlock them? And I'm like, what happened? Like, what happened to gaming? What happened to gamers? This is all backwards and upside down now. You got people jumping and diving to give you real world currency for in-game currency so they can buy trash, cosmetic garbage, that stuff that used to be unlocked in games for playing them. And they get mad at games that give you all these things for free that just require you to play the goddamn game. It's strange what's happened in the last 10 years when it comes to video gaming and people's mentality and what they accept. It is atrocious. I don't know. We're in trouble. Lucius Man, Miyamoto made Geist on GameCube, for example. Yeah, Geist. I love Geist. It's a mature title. So they do. I don't think Miyamoto made it. He probably was a director or something. But maybe it was. Was it In Space that made Geist? So it could have been. Yeah. They're not opposed to those types of games. They just the thing about Nintendo when they develop games, they're not about they don't start with we're going to make a mature title or we're going to do this or we're going to do that. They organically make games. Like they come up with a gameplay scenario, gameplay idea, and story isn't a thing they mostly care about all that much. They're not really big into that, and a lot of times the maturity, quote unquote, maturity of a game will come from the story. What is happening, why it's happening, and how should it happen. So they don't think that way. They start off with, gameplay ideas, and they work their way up to characters and all that stuff. But if you're a company, especially a Western company these days, they think story first. Because a lot of people like their stories in their games. They're not about that just pure gaming. They want that story element, something to get them hooked and involved in the game. Which I get it. I I like story games every once in a while. Um, but I would like to see Nintendo. I'd be curious to see them try a different approach for a game. Start with, we want to make a mature title. We want to make a story-driven game first, and then work their way into the gameplay. I would like to see how that turns out. Jarion, yo, dead ass. About what? Kahuna, I find it so immature when they say Nintendo is for kids. The games are more mature than people saying that crap. Sony ushered in that mindset. Sega did too, but they still had fun games. I mean, it's a way to easily dismiss your competition. So that's why it was done. Another reason, the whole kitty mantra. I had a really good reason, and now I can't remember. Like I said, it's a way to dismiss your competition. But kitty is for a lot of people based on aesthetics and how a game looks. But for me, a lot of these so-called kiddie games, not all of them, but especially Mario titles, they are tough. They're not easy games to play. And a lot of these gamers today are groomed on story first, mature theme story, blah, blah, blah. My health regenerates. There's no real consequence to dying. For me, maturity in games is based around like difficulty and like pure joy of playing. But that's not the case. That's not the narrative today. You have these games that are just straight up walking simulators that have mature stories, but they're not engaging when it comes to actual gaming. And so for me, you're not mature in gameplay. It's the kind of baby gameplay. Stuff like the Avengers game. That's just like, that's baby gameplay. Makes you feel good for doing really nothing. Really simple combat, but it looks really clean. It's pretty, I'm not on that. That's kind of whack to me. Let's see. People were legit mad that they have to unlock the characters. Are you asking or are you agreeing, Jarion? Because I think you're agreeing. They were mad. People were mad that they had to take time to unlock Smash Brothers characters, and I'm like, what the hell? What is going on in the world? It's crazy. Lucius just checked. It was in space. Thought I read somewhere that Miyamoto played a big role in it. Oh, okay. Oh. Whoa, I nailed that. I got in space. I remembered that for some reason. And like I said, Miyamoto could have helped because that's what he does. In that era, he really started digging into helping out with games, directing and whatnot, kind of molding them, getting them, if the development studio was stuck or he was good at giving ideas and he's like, oh, why don't you try this or try that? So maybe he was helpful in the game, but I didn't remember him like making it. So Kahuna, I swear DLC starting to feel like cut content being sold back to us. Yeah, I mean, I said that 5 years ago in my video. It might be 6 now. Let's see. Oh my God, is it close to 7? When did I start my channel? Late 2013, I think. I think it was 2014 when I made that video. So 6 years. It probably was 6 years ago, if not completely 6 or close to 6. I said that. I said they're cutting they're cutting content out of the game and selling it to you as DLC, especially that day one DLC stuff. Remember that? How do you have day one DLC? Why wouldn't that stuff just be in the game? It's insane. So it's too late. It's too late on that. It's too late on DLC. Pretty much too late on microtransactions. People partake in them too much. They wouldn't do it, but they're doing it a lot. So, and there's nothing inherently wrong with DLC. There's some DLC that wasn't part of the game. Some DLC is really good. It's like a whole nother game. One of my favorites was Far Cry 3's. What was it called? Blood Dragon. I thought that was really good DLC. But the stuff that's in like Batman, Arkham's this and that's stuff that should have been in the game, man. That's stuff that you cut from the game. Stuff that you planned to be in the game that you just held back. It's pretty obvious. Side quest. It's side quest stuff. Like, look at Witcher 3. That game has a ton of stuff to do. And by the time you get to the DLC, you already got your money's worth. And that DLC is true, real DLC. Because the game itself has so many side quests and so many missions. You're talking over 100 hours worth of stuff. And you don't feel like you're being robbed when you buy DLC for something like that. Because CD Projekt Red puts in the work. And they care about, at least they show that they care about people that buy their games and they appreciate it. So at least you have some companies still out there doing that. But it's a bit overbearing with the ones that don't. I swear I read that already. Lucius Men, there are a couple of good examples of DLC, but overall it's had a negative impact on the game development, if you ask me. Yeah. That and what is it? What's the other thing? What's the other the practice of like selling you unfinished games, we'll patch it later. That kind of stuff. Once game companies were able to do that, that changed the industry for the worse too. The patch it later crowd, because we're at a point now where gamers are like, oh well, maybe they'll patch it. What? Why isn't it just a full game when I buy it? Can you think about that in any other aspect being okay? Can you go to the movies? I'm watching a movie, and the movie crashes or it doesn't finish. Could you imagine everybody getting up? Oh, I guess maybe they'll patch the movie later. We can finish it later. Or this part of the movie has really bad, what do you call it? Resolution. That's fine. They'll patch it later. Maybe they'll patch it later. Or you go to a restaurant and they give you an unfinished burger and you're eating it. You're like, oh, I'm not too upset. Maybe they'll finish cooking it later. That patching stuff only works for video gamers' mentalities, and it's just crazy to me. It's like, no, you pay for a full product, then you should get one. It's not like, if we can get to a situation where I only have to pay half for this product because it may need to get patched later, then that's fine. I can't really complain about that. But I'm paying the full price. I should be getting the full game. You shouldn't be releasing games that need patches. I just, that mentality is crazy, and a lot of people do it. I hope they patch it. You hope they patch it? They better patch it. They better give me my damn money back. It's crazy. You guys are dropping some good comments in the chat here. Let's see. Like Nintendo re-releasing Mario Kart 8 DLC on Wii U that added 16 tracks for a very low price. Nintendo, but these days, It's just as bad. Yeah, like I mean, Nintendo embarrassed everybody with their DLC for Mario Kart 8. It was crazy good value. I happily bought that. I felt like I was getting something. I was getting something extra, and for a great price, and it felt great. And that's like you're alluding to, Lucius. That's what annoys me about Nintendo today. We're talking just a few years ago. That annoys me about Nintendo today. They don't put that value in, and they have so many fans who defend them for it, and it's just like, who are you? Where did you come from? And I'm not just talking about Wii U. Nintendo always had value. They added value to that was their thing. That was Nintendo's thing. To make sure their customers, their consumers got value and didn't feel like they were getting robbed. When I have to buy a $60 game for DLC that is locked away from the game I already bought, the same game, like Pikmin 3, that's skeevy to me, That's shiesty, and I don't like that. And I don't like people feeling like it's defensible. Because I already bought Pikmin 3 full price. Nintendo knows it. I registered with their website. I registered my copy, like I do all my Nintendo games. So they know I have it. It's on my account. Instead of giving me a discount for Pikmin 3, which they can easily do, deluxe, and that way I don't have to feel like I'm being robbed if I want to play that DLC, that extra content. But they don't do that anymore. And why would they? Why should they when they have a trove of fans who will defend it? So why should they? And we all lose out. It's not like you're gaining anything by defending them for these bad practices. You're getting nothing for doing that. You're getting nothing for being their PR department. You're doing free work for them. Making excuses that even they won't make. It's strange and it's detrimental to the value of the company. So stop. Where has gaming gone, says Right Chance. I wonder myself a lot, right? But the industry is only as good as the audience. If the audience takes a lot of crap, the industry is going to shovel us a lot of crap. And so, when you put up with stuff, they feel there's no consequences to them doing bad things, and they will continue to do them. So it's easy to get angry at gaming, but we have a lot of responsibility ourselves. We let it get this bad, and there's a ton of us that you smack them, and they're like, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?" And it's unfortunate. Why are we so deceived by graphics? I don't know, Right Chance. I have no idea. Because it's the first thing you see. It's like seeing a pretty girl, but then you take her home. And I hope this doesn't sound misogynistic, because I'm not trying to. And find out there's not a lot there. But you still will rock with her because she's bad, you'll put up with the fact that, she's an empty vessel, or he. It's not just girls, guys who are quote unquote, traditionally good looking dudes who are just, self-centered and all about themselves and vapid and don't have a lot going on upstairs. Women and men put up with beauty over substance, and it's the same in video gaming. We put up with a lot of beauty over substance. We put up with these damn movie games that have a deep, mature story, but not a lot of compelling gameplay. We eat those games up. We get excited about them, even the ones we know are trash, like Avengers. but it's pretty. Look at the pretty colors. It's shiny, and it's still gonna do well, even with all the chirping. The casual is gonna run out there. Oh, new Avengers game. And we'll, it'll just keep going on and on the way it is. Cut content DLC should be illegal, says Jamie. I agree. I'm drinking tea while while you talk right now, for real. Does this qualify as legit tea time? And then now, Guarana, funny. Towers, day one DLC is almost certainly cut content. Oh yeah, I mean, there's no denying that. I'm sure they would deny it. The companies would, but you can't have DLC ready for day one without it not having been ready to be in the game. So it's insane. I don't know if they do a lot. I don't see a lot of day one DLC anymore. Maybe there's just too much pushback on it, but I could be wrong. I hope they patch it. Ha! My burger is cold. Can you patch it? Guarana. Silver3474. Gears 3 had content on its disc that you had to pay to unlock and called it DLC. Yeah, that's the stuff. That's killer stuff too. Again, I don't know if they do that as much anymore, but when you download DLC and it's kilobytes in size, you're downloading a damn unlock code, okay? You're not downloading anything. You're using a code to unlock stuff that was already on the disc, and that stuff is insane to me too. That people put up with that. But you don't know until it happens. But I remember buying DLC for one of my Wii U games. Let me look because they're right in front of me. It was a third-party game. Injustice. I remember buying, because I'm a crazy DC fanboy. And I don't buy DLC almost ever. I can count on my hand how many times I actually bought DLC. At least my two hands. But I bought that DLC for Injustice, and I felt sleazy. I felt like I was so robbed. And I was. Because it was garbage stuff that should have been in the game. And I felt terrible afterwards. And I'm like, I'm never doing this again. And I haven't. Tropical Freeze Day 1 Wii U was $50. Ported to Switch and now it's $60. Goddamn. Yeah, I mean that pissed me off so much. And again, the droves of Nintendo zombies came out and defended it. And it's just like, well, what can I do? If everybody's going to go out and buy that crap, support it, and not only support it, but defend it in comment sections and cry to me when I make videos about it. What is the defense? Why is it $10 more than it was when it launched on Wii U? It's bad enough you're putting these ports out at $60 full price, but charging more for the Switch version? That's despicable. It did okay. It did okay on Switch, but it didn't do what a lot of other ports are doing, or some other ports are doing on Switch, and I was happy. And I don't want to be happy about that because I love Tropical Freeze. It's probably my favorite 2D platformer ever of all time. It's hard to beat Mario. Mario World I still probably hold a little higher, but it's one of the best 3D platformers ever made, and I have to be upset about it because of the practices they're doing and the porting process to Switch, charging more. They shouldn't even charge $50. It should have been $40. Because at $40, even I would have went and bought it again. because the game, it sold over 1 million on Wii U. But I want a game like that to do really well. So I would have supported it at $40. I would have bought it again, but I just felt, betrayed. Even I found it despicable that they would not only charge full price, but above the full price of the original version. It was just crazy, and so unlike Nintendo. But you have these fans fighting for this new Nintendo, this new mentality. Just take my money. I'll ask no questions. I'll fight for you in the arena. It's crazy, man. They didn't even add anything worthwhile on Switch version, and only an easy mode with Funky Kong. Are you serious? Yeah, no, I'll pass. No thanks. Kahuna, let's talk about pre-order to get demos and betas. Or demos, what the? Demos and betas. I thought demos was free to see, do we want the dang game? That's crazy. It gets crazier and crazier the more you go down that rabbit hole. Demos and betas. Betas are supposed to be, free. It's first of all, it's good for the company to put a beta out there because they can see what issues that the game has. It's free game testing. You use your audience to game test your damn game. But you have to, in order to get them to do you a favor, you make them pay. What? It's crazy. It's crazy. And I'm back in the day, demos are free. Demos came in the mail in your subscription to a magazine, or just, because they knew you were a fan of something. Maybe you mailed in something, you did a rebate, and so they had your mailing address in their system, and they say, oh, let's send him out this. He seems to like this. Let's send him out this demo, and blah, blah, blah. Demos were to entice you to buy something, not be an incentive for buying something. It's crazy, man. I don't understand these new wave gamers. I call them new wave gamers. I don't understand that mentality at all. And I say they just don't. They're a lot of gamers feel like they owe game companies something. If they don't play nice to them, they'll go away. No, they'll go away when they don't do what they need to do, and you call them out on it, or they fix what they need to do. They'll go away when we stop caring about what they do. You don't owe them anything. You don't have to run out and defend them for anything. It's not your job. It's their job to make a product that is valuable to the consumer. It's trustworthy. It works. It's not broken or cheap. And you feel like you got your money's worth for that product. That's their job. They make, you buy. That's it. That's the relationship. And obviously there's nuance to that. You can have fondness. You can have admiration for game companies. I do, obviously, for Nintendo and stuff. But that shouldn't blind you to bad things when they happen, or kind of deceptive things when they happen. You should be able to say, I like this company, and they're not doing what they should be doing, so I don't like that. You don't have to defend that. You don't have to defend everything to be a fan of something. Now you can't. I don't agree with people who just whine and complain about everything. It's not perfect. It's not exactly what I want. Blah blah blah. I'm not on that. That's not me. Although I'm sure I get looped into that because people just want to dismiss my argument. But again, I challenge anybody who, and I'm not going to be harsh to you. If you want to come on, because I like debates back in the day, on these YouTube streets. So if you have a good counter argument, and you want to say, well, my take is not a good take, come on, we'll talk about it. I have no problem with that. I welcome that. As soon as I can figure out how to add people to my setup now, it's easier than Discord. I probably should just do Discord next time, or times that I want to have people on, because that would probably be easier. But yeah, we can hash it out. We can talk it out, and we'll see what people think. Who had a better argument, you know? So, all right. What time is it? It's 11. All right. CK, that is a pretty sick practice, especially since beta testing is a process in the development cycle, and now companies are charging their fan base to partake. Yeah, like, I don't have a problem with being a beta tester as long as I'm not paying to be one. You know, I'll test your game as if I'm a fan. You know, you have people who moderate people's chats. They're not getting paid for that. They're just a fan of the channel, and they want to participate, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So there's nothing wrong with people being quote unquote beta testers for companies, but you shouldn't charge your beta testers. You shouldn't say, hey, if you want to beta test our game, you have to pre-order it. No, that's bullshit. No, that should not be a thing. But it is. That is a bad practice. Lucius Mend. And they didn't even add anything worthwhile on the Switch. Oh, I read that already. What, did it jump? Let's talk about the pre-order. Yeah, I read that. H-Tech HD. A lot of these problems have to do with the absence of Iwata. I have to agree with that. I mean, I made that point myself. Furukawa is a young, business-minded dude. He doesn't see things the way a former developer sees things. A former developer turned president sees things. He doesn't see the same value in things, I don't think. So, like, I don't know. It's working for short-term goals, for short-term gains. They're doing well. But I worry about, as a fan who will be around, who's not going to abandon Nintendo after the Switch, like a lot of these fans probably will. I worry about the future of the company. So, let's see. But yeah, Wada is sorely missed. Cherion, they be having beauty, but still leaving the toilet seat up. Nice. Matthew Shea, day one on disc paid DLCs, easily the worst. It is terrible. I 100% agree. Bribe, LOL, taking it too seriously. It shouldn't be illegal. I call it DLC DULK? Dulk? Is that how you pronounce it, Dulk? I call DLC Dulk. Alright, well, I think I got to almost everybody's comments. I covered everything I wanted to cover. Like I said, I wanted to do the Wii U, but there's no way I'm going to start that. I would have started it even earlier, but I would save that collection video for tomorrow. So join me again. Come back mañana, tomorrow night, and we'll go over my Wii U collection. If you saw the thumbnail, 70 plus games. I thought I had more. I really did, because at one point I was going to be what do you call it? I was planning on collecting every game for at least in North America, because the library is small enough. I don't do it for large libraries, consoles with large libraries, but N64, I was going to do it. I think I don't even want to do it for that. And Wii U, I was going to do it because games are super cheap, and there's not a ton of games. I think it's around 400, if that many. It's probably around 400 games for Wii U. So I was like, oh, that's a good system. So I'll at least have one system I can say I have every game for that system. But, there's a lot of trash. Like, I don't want to spend money on 100 trash games. So I gave up that idea of doing a whole complete collection for that system. But yeah, I have 70 plus games. I think around 74. I'm not mistaken. I actually have a new one coming on the way. Oh yeah, is it direct tomorrow? So maybe I'll start my Wii U collection video with that. Thoughts on that, and then we'll get into that. I don't expect a lot, but I could be surprised, which is great. Love surprises. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys again for watching and listening and rocking out with me. And we'll be back here tomorrow, right? We'll all be back here tomorrow. I had a pretty good amount of viewers at one point. I think I got up to 40, which was cool. So yeah. They're ruining the direct name with all these mini directs. Says Lucius. Yeah. I wish they would change the name to just call it Partner Presentations. But throwing direct in there, regardless of the fact that it's third party companies or partners or whatever, direct comes with a certain expectation, even if it is a mini or a partner. So, but they're gonna do what they're gonna do. It is what it is at this point. But anyway, I'll check that out tomorrow. We'll talk about that, and we'll get into my Wii U collection, which I love. Every game I have on here, I want it, and you love collections like that. You don't have filler garbage. I mean, I have a couple because, like I said, I was going to collect for the Wii U just to get a full collection. So I have about 3 games, I think, that I would have never bought if it wasn't for that. But that's not bad. Out of 70 something games, only 3 that are filler that I don't really play or plan on playing. Because at least 1 or 2 of them are still sealed. But yeah. So I'll see you guys mañana. Thank you for watching and listening. Thank you, Lucius. Thank you, Gorana. Thank you, Bribe, Jarion, Ace Tech HD. I wanted to keep rolling with it. That was pretty good. Silver 343, 3474, I should say. CK Uzumaki, Jamie Towers. I said Lucius, I think already. Right Chance jumped in here. Thank you for joining. Kahuna, Sean White. Can't forget Sean White up in here. Jack Gates, Jonathan Reed, the homie. Did I say CK Uzumaki? I love that name. I just think it's dope. It's a good name. Bribe. Did I say Jamie Towers? I think I did. Visored Grunt, the homie. Real Gamer 27. Next time I'll get you in here, man. Laker Link was in the house. Hard Luck Tech was in the house. Gamer Knight, also like how you spell that. Pretty cool. T Juice, that the Juice Cruise homie. Juice Cruise? The Juice Crew homie. Matthew Shea. Mugawara. I hope I was saying that right. Mugawara. Link. Man, you said a lot here, Lucius. Which is cool. I love it. I think that's everybody. Anybody I missed, I'm sorry. Trap Lord, EJ Johnson. I think I got everybody. All right, guys. Thank you for watching and listening as always. I appreciate you. And appreciate you. And what's my moniker? And see you fools next time. Peace out.